talent development বলছি না, আমরা বলছি talent management process processটাকে লিড করছি।
Ladies and gentlemen, you're giving me stress. I'm better now. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you've got excited. Calm down. Calm down. I love this part of the course. I'm walking around the tables and HR people are going, measure this, measure that. Hey, we need to measure this one. Very, very nice indeed. I'm going to give you one further minute. In that one further minute, you are going to elect a spokesperson. And that spokesperson, you've already chosen. You've already chosen over here. Why change habits? She's been speaking non-stop for 20 minutes. Let her continue. So elect a spokesman or spokeswoman, and then you can come up here and just very briefly tell us what lagging indicator or indicators you chose and what are the leading indicators, and we can have a little discussion about that. Okay? 1 minute. Choose a spokesperson and away you go.
We compared this actually this lagging and lead driver as input and output. If we compare input with lagging, and then we can compare the output with the results. So it's a KPI. I think one KPI or objective you can set for an employee with the target date, time frame, and specific. So within the smart factoring KPI, that this is the target. Maybe it is 100 number of pieces we have to produce in 1 hour or 1 day or 1 week. This is the time frame, and number is specific there, and quality maybe there was the quality parameters should be there, so we have to meet that as well. And so he should be rated accordingly. If he complete the 100%, then he will get 100 out of 100. If he can produce more, then he will get more than 100. And if he get less, and he will be rated accordingly. And finally, it will be linked with the financial award. So we can relate this.
Everything comes back to performance management.
Yeah, everything comes.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. What's I need is some leading indicators to see how we're driving towards it, and the one you were mentioning there was measuring their deadlines, completion to deadlines, number of tasks done in an hour, that kind of thing.
As lagging indicator is quality recruitment. It's about we have to ensure the quality when we are. It's not only that very good resource as well. We have to ensure whether they are staying in my organization for a longer time. And on the other hand, we are focused as a leading indicator. It's on-time recruitment. So if we focus on quality, but we didn't focus on timeline, then it would be a liability for the organizations if we take too much time. So other points we also identified the target training hour. It could be in many organizations there is a target training hour for all per employee, and that can be measured through training outcome. After training evaluation, we can get the input whether it's improving or not. Then we also identified productivity of the employee, as you mentioned already, as a lagging indicator. And another point we identified is talent management. So we are focusing on talent management, and how we can measure this outcome as a leading indicator is process to identify the talent, identify the key resource, and how we can nurture the talents for the organization. That's all.
Very nice indeed. Congratulations. Well done. Who's our talent? And companies say to me, we're having trouble identifying our talent. And I think, oh, yeah. Well, please define to me what talent is. Well, we haven't got a clear definition yet. Let's keep going back. But when you actually do clearly define what talent is, and then you identify them, then our ultimate goal is to
not in a short period of time we can measure. So it's over the time we have to measure, and the impact is much longer. And another thing would be the human capital value addition. It's a term. Basically, it's productivity versus the number of the employee hired. So whether we are overstaffed or not, or we have to identify that as well. So these are the two lagging areas we have identified. Leading areas would be understanding the organizational pulse, measuring the pulse of the organization, what employees want at this point of time. So understanding that. Another one would be the talent management, identifying the key talents and everything. Cost of recruitment, of course, because it is very important we identify the cost of the recruitment. And finally, we think performance management is a lagging indicator, but if we can measure the feedback, I mean, from the supervisor to employees, measuring the connection, bridging the gaps, that we can do it in a shorter period. So I think these are the areas we have identified in the two different groups.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you very much, indeed. Well done. And looking at performance management, quite right, could very well be a lagging indicator to see how staff are improving, see how many staff are achieving their targets, things like that. But what about having quarterly reviews? Which would be a leading indicator of whether or not we're going to achieve the outcome at the end of the day. So once we start talking about, no, don't, we'll give you more money, please stay, becomes very, very reactive because it's a lagging indicator. So we need to have lots of indicators in between to see how we're doing. Good, well done. Table number.
Performance, retention, or customer retention, because our internal employees are also our customer. And one of the most important things we wanted to identify was to have a positive psychological contract between our employees and the organization. So if we consider these as the lagging, what are the leading indicators that we're talking about today? So one of the first and foremost thing we thought as a leading indicator would be getting the pulse of the organization, where we stand today. What are the positive feedbacks about the organization and what are the negative feedbacks? We'll definitely get some numbers out of it. And then plan our talent management activity accordingly. Also plan our training. We are saying plan because the investment, the return we'll get on the training, the outcomes that will happen on the training is one of the lagging that we are talking about. It's an outcome. But we are saying the plan. If I know I want to reach point B, I know what are the paths I must take today to reach at point B. So that is the path we are talking about in the leading. As well as we are saying that from the pulse, we'll get to know what are the problem areas, and maybe one of the problem areas would be career path, which will lead to our retention. So we want to design a career path matrix that will help us in retention. We want to actually recruit the right number of people and the right fit of the people, which will also help. Then we want to reduce the number of disciplinary actions, because these are all the impacts of a positive psychological contract that we're talking about. So like I said, we clubbed it. We clubbed the lagging indicators into three major branches, that is the performance of organization plus individual, retention, as well as the positive psychological indicators, and the leadings that we identified are the ones that I mentioned. Yeah.
Very nice indeed. I think the message is getting through. Why on earth would you want to reduce the amount of disciplinary cases?
Not really. We're coming from that end.
Okay.
They're doing the right things.
Okay. Good, good, good. So finally, I think I've saved the best till last.
Indicators. One was employee development,
Right.
then performance management, which two teams have already talked about, and career succession planning, and employee satisfaction and grievance handling. Now, when you talk about performance management as a lagging indicator, because it's a long term, 1 year, or in cases of different companies, it varies.
Yes.
The leading path would be usually having KPIs set initially at the first time of the year or at the beginning of the assessment years, and like in CityCell we are starting already. We are having monthly dashboards so that you know where you stand at the end of each month. Then you are assessed quarterly on a quarterly basis, so that at the end of the year you know your status with your supervisor. So it's nothing hidden. Everything is transparent.
Yeah.
Then also you can have in terms of career succession planning and employee development. If you think going in the same path, you can have mentoring schemes set up for new employees who are joining. For those who are you feel that these are based on your assessments before, these are potential leaders. You can have coachings with a coach, corporate coach, or someone internally who is competent enough. Then you can groom these people up for their career succession planning or development paths. And the goal of career planning is to identify leaders, not make managers. You can make managers by giving somebody some responsibilities, and he knows he can manage these things. But that's the problem we make even here in Bangladesh. We think that somebody, like if I'm a manager and assistant manager, he's the successor. No. There might be a senior executive who is better than he is, and because the manager is successful, because the executive is working his butt out, getting the job done. So that should be the real goal of career planning, not bringing up managers to become directors.
Okay.
We have seen in my previous 3 companies that these misconceptions have led to disasters in the long run, because somebody who was brought up was not competent enough to run the whole department and think in a visionary way,
Okay.
like leaders do.
So what should we be measuring?
Initially, with the KPIs, the dashboard, then his progress over the time, any significant achievement he has done, which outside his normal job role, which has changed the dynamics of the department, or something extra he has contributed to the departmental role as well as the organizational role. Okay. Then these are leaders coming up.
We hope so.
I hope that's it. Sorry, about grievance handling and satisfaction, we can, in the short term, we can have surveys, and also getting the pulse of the employees. And in the long run, you can streamline processes so that you can minimize the grievance the employees have with HR roles or any organizational policies. I hope that's it. Yeah.
Yes, it's more than enough. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, our leading indicators is board later on. There are things like if you're driving a car, you have lots and lots of dials in front of you, you have lots and lots of little lights, and a leading indicator is very much a blinking light. Okay, you want to go from here to here. But as you're going along, you've got a little light flashing telling you, something's not right, something's not right. Now we can either ignore it and keep going, or we can actually do something about it to correct it, and that's the point behind leading indicators. We're on a journey, and very much in HR that journey is going to be 3 or 5 years long. What we need is a set of indicators, a set of flashing lights that will tell us, are we going to make it? Are we going to get there? And that's where we need to concentrate, and that's where the balanced scorecard needs to concentrate. Any questions so far?
What is the difference